when I got fired, I got home, I did, wanted to make sure I told the kids, they're in school, they're reading, it's coming up on everyone's phone. I started getting text messages from all the guys I had coached, from 3 years as a head coach at Baylor, 4 years as a head coach at Temple, 20 years before that as an assistant coach, right? And it was almost like I was dead and they were eulogizing me. Like, hey, coach, because you're getting crushed on national TV. This guy was this guy was that. You guys know me. And they're like, Coach, I'm so sorry, but just so you know, this is what you meant to me. And Coach, this is what you meant to me. And I think, at some point, you want to make money, you want to take care of your family. And kind of after that, you're like, all right, well, it's kind of empty after that, right? And you're like, I want to feel like I had some sort of a legacy, some sort of an impact. Like, I want to have an impact here. Coach Osborne was at practice on Saturday. Coach Solich was at practice. I want someday to be able to show up to this building and be able to sit and watch practice and have people be like, oh, there's Coach Rhule. Hey, this is Coach Matt Rhule. You're listening to Like a Farmer.
Hey, y'all, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer. Coach Matt Rhule today, head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Come on. We talk farming. We talk football. We talk family. We talk hard work. We talk everything in between. Really good sit down today. I'm excited about Nebraska. I'm not going to lie, coming in here, I was a little iffy about the program, the staff, the players, everybody, first class. As always, check us out every single Wednesday on YouTube or wherever you listen to your audio podcast. Let's get into it. Okay, I got to just be completely honest with you, man. When FCC guy, University of Florida, I come here to Lincoln and I am bought in 100%. And before I even see the players play, we just watched a great practice. Culture, the staff that you have, from comms to the people that greet you at the door, to the cafeteria, to the waiter, like everybody has been like beyond nice. So what you're doing here in Nebraska, before we even touch this thing right here, is unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, right? Like I think when you take a job like this, when you take a job just as a college head coach, you start saying, okay, well, what's important to me, right? Like, so I think about the players. Like I want to educate and graduate the players. I want to help them be champions. But I also want to represent and respect, the University of Nebraska, and I want to impact the community. And so you think about the state of Nebraska, and I'd never even been here till I came to look at this job. My wife and I, the job was kind of getting real, and she's like, "Hey, let's go take a look." And we came out, we took a look. But man, I tell you what, like one of the joys of my life has been going to Scottsbluff, Nebraska, and not even realizing there was a time change. And so now I'm an hour early for a meeting with a recruit. So me and Sack go downtown. We sit in a little brew pub. We order a sandwich. And like the head coach of Nebraska's there. It's not Matt Rhule. It's the head coach of Nebraska. Like next thing I know, there's like 100 people in line just to say hello. Or last year I went to Tecoma, Nebraska, up in northeast Nebraska. And I'm speaking. And we have a bunch of players there. And there was a lady. She was 90, 91, 92 years old. She waited in line. And she walked up with her flip phone to take a picture with me. You talk about humbling. And so you think about like the product that they want. Obviously, they want a winner. But the people in the state, like they are hardworking people. They're people who they want what they've earned. They want what they deserve. They don't want anything else, and they don't want anything less. And so they deserve a good football team. Like we have you walk out in our stadium, it says 400 plus. I should know the number for recruiting, but even that the number escapes me. Like 400 and whatever it is, straight sellouts. But they've been coming to watch bad teams for a long time. Yeah. But that's the loyalty of what this place means. So you want to talk about what's important. To me, it's doing things the right way and honoring the people that you're playing for, and honoring the state and honoring the people that work here and live here. And then I think the second thing is, if you want to be a champion, Bill Walsh, the great Niners coach, he once said champions behave like champions before they're champions. And I think that's the one thing, like, you're a really popular podcast, right? Like people all over the country, all over the nation, all over the world probably watch you. But like when you had only a few followers, you're just starting. It wasn't about how many followers I have. It was how good of a podcast this is. How great am I? How well do we do things? And if you do things the right way, then eventually people find it. And all of a sudden now we're breaking all these records. No, the records you broke were when you had 5 people listening, 10 people, 20. And so we believe that with all our soul, like how we take care of our building, how we treat the people in the cafeteria, how we practice, how we treat people at practice, how we do all those things is really important to us. So we want to be lions. Like you walk on that field, man, iron sharpens iron. That should be one of the hardest things you do ever in your life is practicing with us. And then we walk off the field like as brothers, like, and sisters, like arm in arm, get ready to go make the world a better place. So I just think it's that mindset of like, hey, first comes being great, and then greatness comes. And then secondly, like, man, we have a lot of people that are counting on us to do this thing the right way.
You mentioned before the cameras turned on, we were watching practice down there, and you took the subway to go to school. I mean, you grew up in the Northeast, and you had never been to Lincoln until you were thinking about taking this job. So in your mind, this is a whole different lifestyle. This is middle America. This is rural America. This is farming and football, like we talked about. Like, what are a couple of things that went through your mind of like, wow, this is totally different than what I'm used to? Yeah,
and I think, in my journey in coaching, right? Like I've coached in Buffalo, New York, coached in Reading, Pennsylvania. My wife and I, we sold everything we had. I got fired at the age of 24. Our whole staff got fired. I was 23 years old. I was the youngest Division I full-time assistant coach in the country. Like, man, I had made $33,000 and got a Saturn. I thought I was the next, like, I thought I was the next, Newt Rockney, right? And we got fired. And my wife and I got offered a job 30 minutes. She grew up on 300 acres in North Pennsylvania. And I got offered a job maybe about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away from her hometown. And this girl, I've been married to her for 26 years. She said, you'll never be happy there. You want to coach big-time football. We sold everything we had. We hopped in my truck. I had a little Mazda B2000 that I bought from her mom was an insurance agent. Someone passed away, and I bought it for $1,500. And we drove to Los Angeles, and I was a GA for a year at UCLA. Made $788 a month. Our rent was $1,400 a month. But I say all that to say, like, we lived in Waco, Texas. We lived on acreage in Waco. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment in L.A. We lived in Charlotte during COVID. Like, we didn't know any of our neighbors. We lived in Philadelphia, like downtown Philly. Now we live here out on, out in the farmland. Like, one thing we've learned is everywhere we go, there's really, really good people. And so what really attracted me here was the people. And we came out to take a look, and I was purely thinking football. Like, I mean, Julie's the one with she has all the perspective in life. I'm like football. So I was thinking, like, can we recruit here? And I'm thinking, Lincoln, Nebraska, what's it going to be like? Man, I show up here. I always describe to people, there's 8 public high schools. So it's like, it's a big city. It's a big college town. It's the state capital. Omaha's 45 minutes down the road. And, you can be in a duck blind at 6, and you can be downtown and getting a cup of coffee at 8 o'clock. Like, you can pick whatever type of life you want to live here. And so we got here, and Julie was like, you can't. Literally, we're driving down O Street, and she's like, you can't recruit that. You can't recruit to here. She wanted to take the job. She knew this was the right job. My son knew this was the right job, and I was being soft. I was like, well, we'll see. But in time, it made a lot of sense to be in the middle of the country with the new Big Ten, playing a national landscape, being able to recruit from all over the country, with revenue sharing and all the different things coming to college football. This place made sense. We have an amazing fan base, elite facilities. I just was like, you know what? I want to feel like something in my life, like I did something important. Nebraska football should be it's a blue blood. It should be one of the great football powers in college football. It should be right up there with what Georgia's doing and what Alabama's doing and now Ohio State and Michigan. So to be able to come somewhere like and feel like you did something like that, like I was just like, you know what? Let's do it. And then the last thing, I'm being long-winded. I'll shut up here in a second. We said where we want to raise our kids. My son, he's a sophomore here. He went to 14 different schools. But boys can do that, and my girls can do it too. I have 10 and 12-year-old daughters, and I don't want to put them in 14 different schools, always moving. So we were like, where can we go where we like to live? And I'll tell you what, I love living here. So it just made perfect sense.
Dude, that's awesome. And you mentioned it earlier. When you think about, I want to do something big, I want to do something promising, you've had a great coaching resume. You've been to some cool places. There's nothing else here than Nebraska football. Like, I've been, we were down there at Grable this week with the Dormy Network, that family, big supporters right here, obviously. Somebody said a quote earlier this week, and it kind of was like, man, that's a little weird. And they said the head football coach of Nebraska is equivalent to the governor of Nebraska. and I didn't know that Coach Osborne, who was here, went on to be a politician. They're like, see, that's why. We don't, as here in Nebraska, it's like it's not like they have a professional sport. You got the College World Series, which is fantastic, but it's Nebraska football. So you're kind of on this pedestal of like, hey, here's the keys to the city, and we trust you, and we love you, and we want you to go do your thing. That's got to be cool.
It's humbling and it's cool at the same time. And Governor Pillen, our actual governor, he played football here. So the ties are endless. And I was the head coach at Temple in Philadelphia, and people say to me, what's this like? I'm like, it's like being like, you can be a fan of something else, but you don't wear another jersey in Philly. If you wear a Giants jersey to a Philly game, good luck getting out alive.
Yeah.
Our fans are nice. They would never beat somebody up, but like, this is a one school town, state. It's like in Texas, when I was in Texas, there's some unified school districts, hey, Klein this, Klein that, Here, it's the University of Nebraska. It's like being in a one school town, and it's really cool. I mean, honestly, I know that when I go out to Grable, I go out to North Platte, or I go out to Gothenburg, or I go out to Mullen, or I go to anywhere like in western Nebraska, northern Nebraska, wherever I go, I'm going to run into Husker fans and people that are counting on me to do a good job.
Yeah.
And so people are unbelievably kind about it and great about it. But there's the magnifying glasses on you at all times. But Julie and I decided when we came here, we're like, you know what? We're going to go out to eat. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go watch my daughters play volleyball. I'm going to go watch, my kids play I'm going to live a normal life. And I think that's the great thing is you can be in this public position here that most people other places can't understand. But at the same time, people are so kind that they would never dream of interrupting me. They would never dream of interrupting me while I'm watching my daughters play. Now, the minute the match is over, I might stand up. I might take 200 pictures. But the people here are so kind that hey, Matt's watching Vivi or Leona play. Let's let him be. And so I think it's pretty. I've never felt anything like it, and it's been cool so far.
That's cool to hear you say that, because on the flip side, I think everybody would agree with me that you do an even better job making your family at the forefront of your mission in life. So I think it's cool that the fans respect that, but it starts with you, and you're a family man first, which I think is fantastic. One of the many things I love about you. What on how you grew up and how you were raised? Your dad was here at practice today, which has got to be the coolest thing. I was talking to Ryan earlier. It's like, dude, think about being a dad and your son is a D1 coach in Nebraska football. But what did you learn growing up, how you grew up, that kind of you implement into your coaching today?
My dad's a pastor, and he's a high school teacher and football coach. So I learned early on from him that you could hold people highly accountable, and that was a form of love. That was a form of caring. In fact, having low expectations for people is not actually caring about them. And so often our kids, so many of them come from in different environments. In some environments, they grew up like me. Like for me, when I sit there and I say, get your ass running to the next drill, that's me caring about you, caring about what you do. Now, I don't always maybe say it like that,
yeah.
but it's all said that way, or it's all meant that way. Some of our guys, when they're told you're not doing this right or that right, for them, correction, it feels like shame. It doesn't feel like correcting because I want to make you better, because I care about you, I love you, I don't want to see you fail. And so that's what takes us a little bit of time sometimes to get things here, is that we're going to hold you highly accountable, and it's because we love you, because we believe in you, because we have expectations for you so much higher than what you ever have. And I saw that in my father. My dad was never maybe as loud at me as me when he coached me in baseball, he coached me all these things. But I'll tell you what, you put two balls on the ground in baseball, the next ball on the ground, guys take a lap, and man, I ran forever. My dad was demanding and tough, but kind and caring. And so I think having that balance of, I don't think about what I'm going to say to the guys. If I think you're not running the ball, I'm going to say run the ball. If I think you ran great, I'm going to say great job. So I hope that the players always feel like even if I'm wrong, they know it's authentic and they know it's transparent, because that's who my dad is. And then, I think about my mom, even now, they live in Omaha now. And they only agreed to move to Omaha if they could participate in some sort of mission work in one of the churches in one of the underserved areas of Omaha. They're missionaries. They go to Rwanda in the summer. They work at an orphanage. And so I learned hey, these are unbelievable jobs and unbelievable opportunities, but your life is really measured by how you give back to people. So, I want to win a ton of games, but I don't want to do it at the expense of using kids, of throwing them away, because too many people in our society are throwing kids away to begin with. And we're as 50-year-olds, we're saying Gen Z, we should worry about ourselves, and we should do our best to pour into the young people. And so I watched my mom as a crisis social worker for a Christian organization, and growing up in New York City, going to work with women on Wall Street, and then going to work with women in welfare hotels, and just giving her life to other people. And so, I wasn't meant to be a minister. I wasn't meant to be something else, but I was meant to work with young people and have high expectations for them and care about them and be there for them in the good and the bad times. I was in the NFL. I wasn't really meant to be an NFL coach. That's not my deal. This is my deal. And so, but seeing their ability to care about people, but also hold them accountable and always being there for them. I hope that's what I try to do as a coach.
You mentioned baseball in there. Was it always like growing up? Did you play football? Obviously, you played at Penn State, but like baseball. So was it always football? Honestly, I mean, you as a kid, you want to try out other sports, but I feel like you tend to seem like a football guy your whole life.
Yeah, it's funny because like there's not a lot of like tackle football in New York City, and so like I grew up literally playing basketball every single day. I grew up before cell phones. Obviously, I was in college before cell phones, so like. I mean, you came home from school, you went to the playground, you played basketball all day. I mean, that's all I did. I played basketball all the time. I played baseball all the time. And so, but like, I was a diehard Penn State fan from the time I was, 3 years old. I remember being, 7 years old watching Penn State beat Georgia, and Herschel Walker to win the national championship. But like, I can still remember Greg Garrity making the diving catch sitting in my grandfather's house in State College, Pennsylvania. Because, we lived in New York City, but we would go back to State College. So I was like diehard. And so from the time I was like 6 or 7, 8, I wanted to be a Penn State football player, and I wanted to be a college football coach. And then I watched my dad. My dad was, like I said, a minister, but also a coach. And I watched my uncle, who's now deceased, but he was in the Pennsylvania High School Coaches Hall of Fame. So in the summers, I would leave New York City, and I would go out there and like live this like suburban, lifestyle. Like the only thing I'd ever seen of the suburbs, growing up was like, I don't know, like movies like, like college movies. I don't know, high school movies. Like like watch the guy in the Letterman's jacket. Like I wish I could do that someday. Like I'd never seen that. And I would go out to Pennsylvania and be around my uncle. And so by the time I was 6, man, I never really got to play a ton of football other than like we played on the streets and then when I got to 7th grade, one day a week I would get my helmet and shoulder pads. I put my pants on and I would take there's a tram in New York City, like a cable car that goes over 59th and 2nd. So that takes about 25 minutes from my house to the cable car over, and I'd walk 10 blocks up to 70th and 3rd, and I get picked up, 70th and 2nd. I get picked up, and I would take a bus for like an hour up to the Bronx. We'd practice for a couple hours, we'd have lunch, and then we'd go play 2 games and come back. I mean, that was my football, like one day a week. So to think that I'm sitting here now as the head coach of the University of Nebraska with such a unique upbringing, but I wouldn't change the upbringing for the world. But yeah, like I played basketball, I played baseball. I'm even now like I'll watch basketball. I love our basketball team. I'll watch women's basketball more because my daughters are obsessed. I love football. I can watch, like if there's a high school game on tonight, I'll watch it. If there's a replay of the 1992 Purdue whatever game, I'm going to watch it. Like I am a football person through and through.
Before we even got here, your team's been helping me out on some of these like little tidbits. I heard you had like a photographic memory. Is that correct? Like,
I don't know. I'm getting older. I
like where did that even come from?
I don't. Well, I would say I have a pretty good memory. Like I remember like pretty much everything that's ever said to me. It's gonna be frustrating for the people that work here. I'm like, no, that's not what you said. You said this. I remember pretty much everything. Yeah, that's said.
Yeah.
And done.
Like the phone call that you got when you got hey, we're gonna give you the job, University of Nebraska. You know that.
When
like you remember that the call of that
absolutely.
year. Hey,
yeah, and it was like a back and forth because like. We couldn't agree. There's so many moving parts. I was leaving the Carolina Panthers, right? I'd been fired, and so I'll never forget we were in Cape May, New Jersey. Are you asking me about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were in Cape May, New Jersey, and it was like, I remember they were playing Iowa, and we came to terms the day before, but the night before I couldn't come to terms with it, and my son got so mad at me. Now, one of my things was, just so you know, is I did not want to leave my son his senior year of high school. He was going to be in Charlotte. And I was like, you know what? I didn't get it done in Carolina. I got fired after 3 years. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to coach high school football. I'm going to do some media stuff. And I want to be with my son for his senior year of high school. All he's done in his life is like move around for me. Like, I'm going to stay here. I don't need to take a job. And he was like, you need to take the Nebraska job. And I was like, but you'll stay here. I was like, I'll stay here. I'll move. My mom and dad will move in with him. And I didn't want to do it. And finally, like, the deal didn't work out. I remember him walking in and me saying, hey, it didn't work out. And he got so pissed. He's like 16, 17 years old at the time. He just walks out, slams the door and walks, because we're at the beach, walks down to the beach and doesn't come back for like an hour. And I'm like, only me would try to like be a good father and say, I'm gonna turn down the job at the University of Nebraska to like be home with you, and my son doesn't want me around. But then finally we did it, and finally we said yes. And I remember talked to Trev, and then that was like bang right the next day, and they're playing Iowa, and they beat Iowa, and and then I'm on College Game Day and I'm talking to college. It was just it was a surreal like 48 to 72 hours because it looked like it wasn't going to happen. And but Julie and Bryant were like, this is the right job. And it was like 2 weeks later, man, I'm walking across campus and I called Julie and I'm like, as usual, you were right. Like, this is the right job for us. Like, this is the right place. These kids need us. This university needs us, and we'll be able to get it done here.
You can sit here as a fan. The old school way is, hey, when you go from college to the NFL, it's like college, they're looking up to you. You're the guy. You're making more money than them. That was the case probably back then, and definitely not the case now. The NIL and all that. But, like, I feel like after Carolina, you were just done with the NFL. You knew you were a college guy.
Yeah, and I had such a good experience as an assistant coach. I worked for Tom Coughlin at the Giants. Man. I had an amazing experience there. And I think part of the lure of going to the NFL for me was that you got so much time with your own family. Like in the offseason, like you're not out recruiting. You're not chasing some kid down, like, why didn't you hand in your paper? Point. So, like, I mean, it's 4 o'clock, depending on who you work for, 4 or 5 o'clock every day, and you're home. Like, you're, like, mowing the lawn. Like, you're a normal person. And so I think as I think, you've heard me talk a couple times about, like, maybe the guilt I feel about my son moving around and my daughter. I was like, let's go to Carolina. Let's try the NFL. Let's do this. And it was a unique time. Like, I mean, COVID hits. My family moved in, like, March or May. I can't remember, maybe March. And, like, they moved in on Sunday. I'd been there for a while. And then Monday, they were going to go to school. School got canceled. Tuesday, school got canceled. Wednesday, the country shut down. And here they are. They're sitting there like, we just moved somewhere. We don't know anybody. Like, they literally, my wife packed up from Waco, Texas. She packed up 2 dogs, a cat, 3 kids, her shotgun, stun gun. This is Julie now. A U-Haul. We have a wine cellar, and someone tried to buy the house from the wine cellar. I was like, we'll take it. And she's like, no, we're not selling that wine. And I was so mad, but I listened. So she packed up and put it all in the U-Haul. She drove across the country. She was, thankfully, during COVID, you had a bottle of wine every once in a while when you needed it because she was smart enough to bring the wine with us. But anyway, come across the country, and I remember she gets to Tuscaloosa. They're all gluten-free. They all have celiac. So she's like, I don't know where to eat. Everything shut down. I call a couple people at the University of Alabama, like, can you help me out? They make a call. They say, drive in this alley, and this guy from this restaurant walks out the back door, hands them like 8 sandwiches, gluten-free sandwiches. My wife keeps driving from Tuscaloosa. Take care. I mean, just the cool things about being in college football. But, like, it was just such a, just a unique time. But when I got fired, I got home. I did, wanted to make sure I told the kids. They're in school. They're reading. It's coming up on everyone's phone. And I started getting text messages from all the guys I had coached. From 3 years as a head coach at Baylor, 4 years as a head coach at Temple. 20 years before that as an assistant coach, right? And it was almost like I was dead and they were eulogizing me. Like, hey, coach, because you're getting crushed on national TV. This guy was this guy was that. These guys know me, and they're like, Coach, I'm so sorry, but just so you know, this is what you meant to me. And, Coach, this is what you meant to me. And I think, at some point, you want to make money, you want to take care of your family. And it kind of after that, you're like, all right, well, it's kind of empty after that, right? And you're like, I want to feel like I had some sort of a legacy, some sort of an impact. Like, I want to have an impact here. Coach Osborne was at practice on Saturday. Coach Solich was at practice. I want someday to be able to show up to this building and be able to sit and watch practice and have people be like, oh, there's Coach Rhule.
Yeah.
He did the best he could while he was here.
That dude was a legend back in the day.
I'll take legend, obviously.
Yeah.
But just when they let you in the building, I'll take, like, hey, we don't hate him. But the second part was like, like, you have all these young people, like, and now they're grown men. And they're just like, hey, did I do a good job for them?
Yeah.
So I think that's the part of college, like, I love the NFL. I love some of the guys, but it was like, all right, man, I'll see you tomorrow. It was like work.
Yep.
And this is just way different. This is like something so much bigger to me, and it fits my family too. My wife, my daughters, my son. They love being a part of the football. The football family.
Love that. We play a game on this show. Okay.
Oh, great.
This game's called Give 'em the Boot, presented by TECOVAS. We got you a brand new pair of boots of TECOVAS. I promise you, they are coming, and I don't have them here today. But what the game is, right here. In this Nebraska helmet, you got 4 questions. You can give one of them the boot, Coach, but if you give one of them the boot, that means you have to answer the rest of them.
Okay.
Not many people give the boot on this show. I've really never seen anybody. You just got to answer all 4 of the questions.
Oh, okay. What do you do the most as a hobby when you aren't coaching? Okay, I'm gonna give you the answer that I like to give.
Okay.
The professional answer.
Yeah.
I love to read, so I read a lot. I like to listen to music. But I like to drink bourbon, and I like to play golf. I'm not a good golfer at all, but I love to play golf.
You play fast.
Yeah, I'm fun to play with.
Okay, there you go.
No one's ever said, no, I don't want to play with Matt.
Okay,
I can promise you, like, if we have to look, like, once or twice, like, we're not looking again. Like, it's my fault if I didn't hit the fairway. So.
Gotcha. So the reading and listening to music was kind of like hey, I'm Coach Matt Rhule. I like to listen to music and read books. But then the dude,
yes,
it's like, man, I want to go drink bourbon and play golf.
Yes, exactly right.
Okay. What's
Coach
your,
Rhule,
like,
then there's Matt.
Yeah. What's your bourbon of choice?
I like Blanton's.
Yeah.
I like Weller. I like. I have a friend who's a Scotch maker, and so I like certain Scotches. But I really like most bourbons. I'm not a real rye guy.
Yeah.
I'm more of a bourbon guy. But if I like Bland's Black. If I had, if I'm going to splurge, but I pretty much like all bourbon. To be quite honest with you, you're not going to find many that you're going to see that Matt doesn't like.
Okay, that's good. All right, question number 2.
What would you be doing if you weren't coaching? I would say if I never would have been a coach, I probably would have gone into some area of the law. I either would have gone into like law enforcement or the law. So I was a political science major, and I really kind of got fascinated by things as related to the world law. I didn't love politics. I kind of liked the law. I don't think I would have gone to law school. It would have been probably too long for me.
Yeah.
My ADD kicks in pretty quickly, but I really like the idea of justice. Like the idea of doing right by people and having safe communities and things like that. So probably something in the world of like law enforcement / the law.
As you were saying that, I could honestly see you playing like a detective in a movie, man. You kind of give off that vibe too.
Thank you. I'll take that.
You're welcome.
I'll take that. Mount Rushmore on players you have coached. Oof, that's a great one. That's a great question.
I know.
Christian McCaffrey. Mount Rushmore, what, 4?
Yeah.
I should probably. Gosh. I'm sitting here talking about how I'm a law, not social studies. All right. Christian McCaffrey. Deion Dawkins, who's now just came up number 42 on the NFL's top 100 for the Buffalo Bills. One of the best people. Hassan Reddick, should have been defensive player there 2 years ago. And I coached a guy, Stephon Gilmore, who was NFL Defensive Player of the Year, and I had nothing to do with Stephon. Steph Gilmore came in late. Steph had more to help, has helped me way more than I helped him. But I loved Stephon Gilmore. So I would say those 4 guys.
That is such a hard question for you. You've coached some dudes. I got to go back to Deion. Beautiful human being, man. Every time I see him in Buffalo, when I go up to see Josh and we're hanging out and gives me the biggest hug. Got a great Deion story. And this for everybody at home, when you get invited to these things, there's not many rules, but there's a couple rules. Bills win, so I go to Deion's house for an after party. I went with Vaughn. This is when Vaughn was playing with Buffalo this last year. I missed my ride with Vaughn, so I decided to Uber. And you don't Uber to a player's home for an after party. And the Uber's like pulling up to Deion's house, and Deion walks out, and he's like, "What the fuck, Pat? Like, you tell my Ubers are..." And I felt like an idiot. We've obviously gotten over that, but I had to go publicly apologize to you, Deion, because I'm a huge Deion fan.
He's amazing.
And I didn't know that you had coached him.
Yeah, so I get the job at Temple. It's my first time being a head coach. I'm still coaching the Giants, and so on the off time, I'm recruiting at night and working at night because I have to finish the season out. Me and assistant coach, great guy, Knapp, who knew all of North Jersey, said, "Hey, there's this kid. He was going to go to Cincinnati. They just dropped him." So I go over to his house, and I'm watching the tape, and there's this big, athletic, powerful kid out there running around, but he's not real polished. And so, it's my first time doing this. I'm talking to him in his house, and I'm like, "So tell me, this, tell me that." And I love the kid's demeanor. And so I'm like, "Well, show me how they taught you." Because I'm just trying to figure out, why does the tape not look good? But he looks athletic. And he starts explaining to me, and it's like he hasn't been real coached yet at with the prep school, had moved to the offensive line. And so I say, "You know what, can you dunk a basketball?" He goes, "Yeah, I can dunk a basketball." I said, "If you can dunk a basketball, I'll give you a scholarship right now." Now, it's Friday night. School starts Monday. Okay, it's the middle of the year. It's in January. He's at prep school. He has nowhere to go. And so they said, "Yeah, let's walk down the street." Now, it's kind of an NCAA violation to go have a kid dunk a basketball. So we walk outside, and I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't. I'm not going to cheat. Like, even though I don't really think it's cheating, it's giving a kid an opportunity. But I was like, that's against the rules. I said, you know what, guys? Let me think about this. I'll give you guys a call in the next couple of days. We'll figure something out. Maybe I'll have you make a tape, and I'll think about it. And I kid you not, they're like, all right, thanks, coach. And I'm walking down the street. I think I was with Alan Mogridge, and we're walking to the car, and it was like a romantic comedy. Like, I stopped, and I was like, what are you doing? And I turned around, I said, can you be there Sunday by 1 o'clock? He's like, I'll be there. I said, you have a scholarship to Temple University. Comes to Temple, plays a little bit as a freshman, breaks his foot, and then just becomes one of the favorite people I've ever coached in my life. If I had to pick, if you said to me, hey, you need to pick someone that you will fly here right now and protect your children, it would be that guy. And so I love what he's done, his personality. Like, you guys saw me at practice today. He used to, when he was a senior, he would always say to me, people skills. I'd start like yelling at one of the young guys, like, what are you doing? He'd be like, Rhule, people skills. Coach, people skills. People skills. I'd be like, all right. Could you please try to do that again? Like, he would constantly make me work on me. But like, he's one of the guys when I got fired. I remember him texting me. I can't say exactly how he said it, but he's like, don't ever change. Like, coach, I needed you in my life. Don't ever change. And I don't say that for me. It's just like he was there when I needed to hear that. But the hard thing is, with him is like, I needed to get in touch with him about something. He had sent me something. I needed to send him back. So I go through my phone and I look up Dion. It's not there. I look up Dawkins. Now I'm not like savvy like nowadays. And then I look up Docs because I had him on my phone as Docs for years. So I send a message to him on social media, on Twitter. I'm like, bro, I don't have, or Instagram. I'm like, hey, I don't have your number. He's like, whoever this is, stop hacking me. Like, he would not believe it was me. And so he started asking me all these questions like, it is me. And I had to prove to him that was so finally, well, his name on my phone, he sent, you can update your name, Schno.
Yeah, Snow, man.
Shnow-O-O-O-O-O-O-W. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, do that for the guys that are 20-something. Like, 50-year-olds, like, just Dion. So, but I love him. Like, and what he's done has been awesome. What he's done with his career.
Are you kidding me? There's no other guy right now I'd rather say go protect Josh Allen than Dion Dawkins. Because we got to protect 17.
Absolutely.
Last question. Here we go. Give him the boot.
What is your best sideline moment as a head coach? It's hard because there's a couple good ones. I would say my third year at Penn State, my third year at Temple, they had not beaten Penn State, 41 tries, 74 years, kind of like little brother in state. And we beat them. Yeah, we beat them kind of going away. It wasn't close. And I just remember, we didn't have like the biggest crowds, but we had like tough blue collar people. Like, if you went to Temple, like you're a tough person. Like, you've commuted, you've lived in a tough area. Like, you've probably, most people there, like, they work in the morning, go to school at night, or like, it's just the best people. And so I felt like it was like this thing constantly hanging over everyone's shoulders, and just to be a small part of like us lifting that. Like, we were down 10-0 and we came back and beat them like maybe 27-10. But just seeing the crowd and the emotion and just feeling it, like, it was something I'll probably, never forget. I remember walking off the field and all my family being there. And obviously what Penn State means to me is being a guy who walked on there and then played there. So I'd say that was a moment that, no one can ever take from me.
I'm going back to that Mount Rushmore. It is crazy when you think about the players that you've coached at both levels, keep in mind. I mean, we were talking the other day because, I'm in Tampa. And, like, think about Baker. Think about Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, who you both had on the roster at Carolina. And, like, they've continued to kind of been journeymen in the NFL and really found some homes right now. But, like, Cam Newton, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't even know how you could have answered that question. I mean, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, so Cam brought his. We had a 707 here this summer. He brought spring. He brought his team here, and it was so good. Like, cause, I got there and he was leaving, and then we brought him back, and I learned so much from Cam. Like, it's all something I always try to explain to people. Like, I just wish people could see like the level of work that he put in, the amount of dedication that he had, the impact he had. It was like being around a real life superhero. And I think sometimes people think like, we got along great. Like, I have the utmost respect for him. Baker, it's funny. I get fired. It's funny you get fired in the NFL. It's like all over ESPN. You get up the next day, you don't get to just lay in bed. Like, my wife's like, all right, well, we went away for a couple days, and then she's like, all right, we'll take the kids to school. But we didn't go for like 2 days. So the next day, like my wife's getting a sandwich at a sandwich shop, and Baker's in there. He runs up, hugs Julie. Like I remember when I was leaving the building, he was like, hey, where are you? Like he just is a loyal guy, you know. He's a great guy. And so there's never was any doubt in my mind that he was going to be a great player in the NFL. One of the things people don't realize is like we tried to trade for him at the draft. And the decision was made that it was like financially not good to trade for him at the draft. Now, obviously, it wasn't good for me that we didn't trade for him at the draft because here I am, you know, not there anymore. But the decision was made, which, you know, you live by the decision. That's fine. But we brought him in the day of training camp. That never happens in the NFL. You don't bring your starter in to miss all of OTAs and bring him in the day of training camp. But, like, he was the ultimate competitor. He never made excuses. He never, like, he just went out every single day. And him and Sam, I'll never forget, you know, Sam, when we brought Baker in, I remember him saying, hey, this will make me a better player. This will make me a better quarterback. And so, like, you know, obviously under me, neither one had the success they wanted. So I always have to think about that. Like, why did that happen? And wish I could have been better for them, or wish the situation we could have been better for them. But I respect them both. And I was happy to see Sam do what he did. But I always had the utmost respect for Baker as a competitor, day to day, what he brought to practice, and just who he was as a person. You know, he married a Nebraska girl, you know, so he even though he's a Sooner, he has no choice but to root for us here and there. But I just respect him. And so when he went to Tampa Bay, I knew they would love him. And I'm happy to see like him doing what he does, which is the guy's just a flat out winner. I coached against him in college. I had a chance to coach him in the NFL. And I think all those things help me be better now when I'm here, always looking at players and being like, hey, who are the winners? Like, who's got that Baker Mayfield in them?
Damn, that's cool. And I was just about to ask, I feel like recruiting, you bring these values that you've seen in these other players, and you told the best story before we even sat down. Like, was it linebackers or no offensive linemen? Like, hey, I don't want to recruit an offensive lineman that doesn't live on a dirt road. Like, that's just an awesome on how they live. But how has recruiting been, you know, since you got here and kind of looking for, you know, the Matt Rhule type of player?
Yeah, you know, when you think about what I'm looking for, I'm really looking for guys that have the physical traits to be NFL players, but have the brain, when I say brain, just the mindset to also be grateful members of our team and be like great teammates. And, you know, you should want to have high aspirations. You should want to be the best. You should be ambitious as could be, but you also have to want to be a great teammate. You also have to, so finding the balance of like guys with the right physical ability and the right brain, the Deion Dawkinses of the world, like all these guys that I've had a chance to coach, like Christian McCaffrey, like dude, it's really hard to coach Christian McCaffrey and then coach Stephon Gilmore, coach J.C. Horn, and then turn around and coach like a 16, 17-year-old kid who doesn't want to listen to you. You're like, you know, Stephon Gilmore knew more about defensive back play than I did, and he wouldn't say, no, I'm going to play it like Stephon would be like, hey, coach, I know when he lines up in this split and takes an inside stem, he's going to run an over route. Do you care if I play that inside? Like, oh, yeah, please, Steph, please. Like that's the level of detail these guys had. So, like, just trying to find guys who have that same mindset. Like, they love the game. They love their teammates. They love getting better. Like, you're not going to come to the University of Nebraska and not practice. Like, that's what this place is about. Like, when you meet Tom Osborne, all he does is talk about practice. Like, here's how we practice. And so finding the right recruits, the guys with the right skill set, but also the right mindset, I think is unbelievably important. And you know what? If they're a good player, they're going to make a lot of money. And who is not going to lose their love of the game when they make some money? Like, who is playing this game because of the love of the game and love of their teammates, not because of what they can get out of it? And I think that's a work in progress. You're always trying to find it. You know, we still love getting unbelievable walk-ons. We still love, you know, I love the fact that there are guys on my team that pay to go through that practice today. Like, isn't that, you think about that? Isn't that cool? Like, you might have some guys making, you know, all over the country. You have guys making. I talked to a guy the other day, a GM of a school. They have 10 guys making $1 million, which means if you have 10 guys making $1 million, that means you also have a bunch of guys that are paying to go to school, and they're all in the same locker room. And you know what? Damn. That's life. Like, I tell our guys, like, hey guys, they all know what I make. I make a lot of money, and I work the same amount of hours as our GAs, and our GAs make $43,000 a year. It's the same standard of work. It's the same. If they don't do their job, I'm going to fire them. If I don't do my job, I'm going to get fired. It's the same quality. It's the same output. It's just different roles. And so I once made $1,800 in a year. You know, I once made what they make. And so it's not getting caught up in what you make, what you don't make, but just, hey, am I a great football player? Am I a great teammate? And then trying to be great at those things so that I do make that money. I do get to the NFL. I am a first-round draft pick. It's helpful for me. I'll tell our guys, like, hey, I hope you make $700,000. But, Hassan Reddick's made $79 million in his time in the NFL. And Deion's made, over $75 million so far with another $15 million coming. So let's not be satisfied. So I think that's the new world, right? Like, we all can see who the good players are. But who are the guys who they love this so much that they'll play for free and they'll play for $1 million and they'll be the same deal every day? That's what I'm always trying to find.
It was a weird timing thing, it seemed like, too. So you leave Waco, you go to Charlotte, and by the time you get back, the college football's changed. Man, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but you're on a damn bull the other day taking a picture of a recruit trying to close a deal. Yeah. It's like you got NIL going on. Tell me how you feel about all that.
I will say this. The only thing that's ever bothered me, the money never bothers me, and the portal never bothered me. What's bothered me, because of the way we do things, is we're developmental, right? Like Hassan Reddick comes in as a walk-on, and he leaves as a first-round draft pick. Deion Dawkins comes in, he gets dropped by Cincinnati, he leaves as a second-round draft pick. Those are the things I love. And so I just have never liked, as guys go through the highs and lows of our program, getting bought by somebody else. It's just not, I get attached to the guys. I want them to be here. Even in their, rough times, I want them to be here. And so that, if a guy's not happy, go find somewhere else. If a guy can make money, but I just don't like when other schools come in, or any school, and just says, hey, you're happy, you're doing well, hey, here's some more money, come here for us. So that part was hard for me at first. But I had to kind of learn, hey, everybody has to make their own decisions in life. I get that. I think the thing that's really been the rejuvenation in my career has been just making sure I have a little bit of fun. The bowl was not my idea. And again, as someone who rode the subway back and forth to school every day, that's ironic. But they're like, hey, Rhule, hop on the bull. And I was like, okay, I'll hop on the bull. I jumped on it. I turned 50 this year. And the week before I turned 50, I was inconsolable. I was like, I can't, my life's over. My life's over. I'm getting old and this. In my mind, I'm still 22. It's not until I FaceTime a recruit that I'm like, who the heck is this guy? In my mind, I'm still, I can still play pickup basketball with the guys. So I woke up the day I turned 50, and I was like, I'm going to kick my 50's ass. I'm going to be the best I've ever been. And so this has been the most fun I've had these 6 months, because instead of just getting through the days or letting, I got to do that, I'm attacking everything. So, riding a bull, jumping off instead of doing it for show, I'm having fun.
The John Deere.
Yeah. They told me that John Deere was worth, that was $1 million John Deere. I said, well, then let's not break it, number one. But we are the University of Nebraska. We're an agricultural school. We sit over top of the Ogallala Reservoir with a pot of gold. We are a place that this country needs. The grain, you talk the bioeconomy as we move forward, the things that the state of Nebraska is going to do for the United States and the world, from food to fuel to water. This is one of the most important places in the globe right now. Is this dirt that we live on, this state that we live on. And so I want to lean into that and be a part of that, and I want to enjoy it. So you're going to see this year, I'm going to enjoy every single game we play. I'm kind of old school Tom Coughlin, Joe Paterno, we won the game, but no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to enjoy my last years in coaching, whether that's 20 years or 2 years. I don't know what I'm promised. And so I've taken that approach. Out there, you saw him in the field today, I enjoyed every second. Even when it sounds like maybe, is he mad? No, I love being out there with those guys. I like watching young people, iron sharpening iron. So to me, I just have to have guys coming in recruiting who can handle that, who like that. And then we have to have enough guys like that. Then we bring someone else in that they're no. Williams Waneri, was the number one recruit in the nation last year, 5-star recruit, went somewhere else, came here. Man, the transformation in him has been unbelievable. Watching him go from the pressure of I'm a 5-star, I need to do this, to I'm a football player. And so, yeah, if you brought a bull out here right now, I'd jump. I don't know if I'd ride it if it was a true bull, a riding bull.
With your time here now, you're kind of like a country guy now.
Yeah, and like I said, first of all, I married a girl right off the farm.
Sure.
So,
that's true.
I'll never forget when I went to see, I grew up in a house. When I went back to see my grandparents in Pennsylvania, we always had a gun case, and I'm used to that. I remember when I went to see Julie and her parents the first time. Her dad was a huge man, 6'6", went to the University of West Virginia, was a forestry professor. He had 18 guns sitting out, not in the cases, by the door. And I was like, all right, I get it. Man's trying to send me a message. Well, 10 years later, he had 18 guns. You never know when you're going to see something running through and so, I've always had a piece of that. I think the biggest thing here is like the community that you find when you live in the country is really pretty cool. Like I live in a place called Waverly, and every year they have the Waverly Rib Fest. And this year, my 10-year-old, she's like the little girl from Remember the Titans. Like she's at practice all the time. She's like,
I love that.
She's like, Dad, we have to go to the Rib Fest. And I'm like, honey, I can't. It goes from, I think it went from like 6 to 8. And I was like, honey, we have something at this. She's like, we're going. So I went early, and we went 38 different ribs. We had a bite of each rib. But as I went, I saw all my neighbors and even people I've never kind of really met because they live like north by northwest a couple miles. And I remember they all said to me like, hey, just so you know, we have like a little group chat, and we always make sure, ride by your house every day, make sure your wife's okay. You know, they know I'm never really there. They're like, we always make sure no one's sitting out front. We make sure, and not that anyone has, but like just that sense of community, that sense of like, hey, I'm not going to bother you, but if you ever need me, call me. You know, I didn't grow up with that in the city, you know, and so it's really cool to have that here.
I'm sure y'all probably have this data. I wonder on Saturdays when you come to this stadium, like occupation-wise, who, and they don't have to be full-time farmers, but like who is either in farming, close to farming, like it's got to be high, right?
Oh, I mean,
whether you are a farmer or you're supporting the farmer, and it's got to be over 50% in that stadium, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are, but they're high. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you meet someone from Nebraska, they grew up in a small town somewhere, and they, you know, in farming, and they have
blue collar.
Yeah, and so, you know, when you come in the stadium on game day, it becomes the third largest city in the state of Nebraska. You know, it goes Omaha, then Lincoln, then it becomes Memorial Stadium come game time.
Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, I think as you go across the state, you know, until you get to until the farming land ends and ranch land begins. But basically, at the end of the day, people in this state are working to provide food and resources for the rest of the state and the country. I mean, that's pretty much everywhere you go in the state, and that's what makes a lot of people go through the state and they're just on 80, and it's kind of a long, you know, kind of quiet drive on 80. But I'll tell you what, you get off 80 and you start driving down the side highways, you start driving through all the different parts of the state, and this is a beautiful, beautiful place with a lot of life and a lot of wonderful people.
A lot of corn too. A lot of corn. Hey, I play another game on the show, okay?
Okay. How did I do in the first? I did okay on the first one, right?
Did great on the first one. Yeah.
Kind of a competitive guy.
Yeah, I know you are. What's in the cooler presented by Outlaw Light?
Oh, let's go.
We have this new cooler. Matter of fact, we're going to get you to sign this after, and we're going to do a giveaway.
You know, I'm like a Yeti, like I'm like obsessive about Yetis.
Well, we're going to get you one of these, but this one you're going to sign. We're going to do a little giveaway. Why do you say you're obsessive about Yeti? Like, what's your...
Because there's a Yeti outlet store at the outlet malls in Gretna, right? So it's like 25 minutes from my house, 25 minutes to Omaha. And my daughters, when they want to meet their friends in Omaha, we just meet there. And so I literally go in there every single time and buy something else. Like, I'm like, well, I'm not going to fish for a couple months, but I do need this to hold my stuff when I fish. And I do need this when I literally buy something at the Yeti store.
Oh, they'll get you too. You'll go in, hey, I do need a cooler. Oh, I do need a cup. They got a dog bowl over there. I mean, they're just making everything now, throwing Yeti on there. And it's really good stuff,
absolutely. Too. Like, a Yeti chair is one of the greatest chairs you can ever sit on. So I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know if you're sponsored by Yeti.
Yeah, no free shout-outs.
No free shout-outs.
So you're just going to pull something out of the cooler. First thing that comes to your mind when you pull it out, just give us a couple sentences about it. There you go. You can open them now. First thing that comes to mind when you see that, I mean, here in Nebraska, like what does that mean to the university, to the team?
I was gonna say we have better corn than Iowa. This is, I think when you live here, it's just not just food and fuel for people. It's fuel for our economy. It's fuel for, the country. I mean, I just know, the things that we're gonna be able to do with corn in the next, 10, 20 years, and it's going to come out of this state. It's going to come out of, lots of states, hopefully, but also this state.
Yep.
So I think what Governor Pill and the economy is doing here is awesome.
Love that. Okay, here we go. Now you have to open that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That happened. Little known fact. So that's me, and that's Courtney Brown. Courtney was the number 1 overall pick in the National Football League draft of the Cleveland Browns. He's on the ground there with me. I believe that's Courtney. We sacked the quarterback from Temple, ironically enough, and I got pulled up in that game. It was one of the first games I ever played at linebacker, not special. I got pulled up and got in the game, and we played Stack 43, Stack Buzz Shark Whale, Stack Buzz 43. And so it's just, I wasn't supposed to blitz, and I got fooled on play action so badly that I was in the backfield. And I was like, might as well keep going and sack the quarterback. Everyone's like, great play, and I got yelled at.
Dude, that's awesome.
Coaches
Okay,
yelled at me for a bit.
One more, or two more. Yeah. That dancing one the other day, or I don't know. I mean,
Harper and I did, yeah. Well, Harper Murray's our All-American, All-World volleyball player, and the sweetest thing about her is she literally like FaceTimes my 10-year-old daughter like pretty much every night, like. So she's awesome. So they came up with it. They both like went after me about doing a TikTok, and I had come out like on the McAfee show, like basically what I said was I want my players to stop doing TikToks in the building and start doing football in the building. Yeah. It's not that I'm against TikTok. It's just in the building, like just do football.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm out there dancing.
Doing TikTok.
So I told you I was gonna have more.
All right, last one. This is a good one because watching this guy today for the first time really just.
It's funny. Like sometimes I hear people talk about him and they'll say, "Oh, he had an up and down freshman year." The guy's one of four quarterbacks ever, like four freshman quarterbacks to do what he did. He got 71% in his last 3 games, and he was a freshman. Like he's going to be one of the best players in college football.
He's a dude. Just how he carries himself too.
Yeah, he's a pro. He's a great teammate. He cares about other people. Like if you can find a 5-star quarterback who comes from a great family, whose dad played in the NFL for 14 years at center on the O-line, and who doesn't make it about themselves, like, and he's growing, he's getting better and better and better. But like, if you want to know why I think I'm gonna have some fun, because I got a bunch of great players like that and a bunch of great people like that. But yeah, he's sometimes people compare him to Mahomes. They almost say it in a negative way. I'm like, so he plays quarterback and wants to be like the best quarterback in the game, or one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the game. Like, so if he could run, he would run quarterback power like Josh Allen. So does that mean he's being inauthentic? Like, we're all just trying to be like who we see, and so he plays the game like Mahomes, and I sure like that. So I think he's just an awesome young person.
I'm excited to watch him play, the whole team. Excited to watch you out there this year. I know you got to get back out there and get after it with the boys and girls. Dude, I appreciate you, man. I really do. Like, you coming on the show today, you have a show coming out soon, right? Can we talk about that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're starting our own podcast. We're calling it House Rhules. And I'm blessed during the week. I do a lot of media. And at some point I was like, I'm always beholden. And when I talk about football, I'm always kind of beholden to talk about what people ask me. But, I'm at a point now. I've been hired. I've been fired. I'm at the point now where I don't care what I say. I'm going to say exactly what I think. And I think we need that in sports right now. We need to actually get up there and say what we think. And I also think why I was so excited to do this is we're talking about football, but we're really talking about life.
Exactly.
We're talking about people. And so we just said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get some really cool people on the show. We're going to talk about our season each week. We're going to talk about what's happening and let our fans get an inside look into Nebraska football. But we'll also talk about some other things and do it for as long as we can and try to have some fun and be real and be authentic with it.
I had heard it the other day, and if there's one guy to start it off, it's you, because you believe in what we're doing here, and I really appreciate that. There's some coaches and there ain't people like, hey, number one, I don't want to do it, or number two, I'll do it, but you got 10 minutes. Like, you get it, and you get the power of it. We were just talking about TikTok, but media as a whole, and there's no better guy. You're doing the little walkthroughs you're doing almost every day are just fantastic, but I'm excited for you doing that, and I appreciate what you have done for us today, and what I know you're going to continue to do for just media as a whole.
Well, thank you. And, I just think, I think for you to be doing farming and football, I mean, for you to come here and start here or be here. And here's what I know. I love people in Nebraska. I love people I met in North Carolina. There's wonderful people all over this country. And instead of always talking about what we disagree on or what we don't get along with, let's talk about the things we do get along with. And let's talk about some things that bring us together. And what brings us together more than football? Now, we might get together and argue about the SEC, Big Ten, playoff, but that's fun. But I just think what you guys are doing is uniting, is a uniting force. And I think, you know what, that's all we all want to do. I want to come together and I want to play as hard as we can on Saturdays. But I don't want to disrespect the opponent. I want to shake the opponent's hand. I want to freaking walk off the field and you know what, feel like, hey, we did something to entertain people across the country. And that's what you guys are doing. So I'm honored you'd have me on.
There you go. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I mentioned, catch us on YouTube every Wednesday or wherever you listen to your podcast. Coach Rhule came on the show today. This was a great one. Once again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer.